critters? It is your girl Ashley, and I am here again with a little tarot reading. This time doing something a little bit different. I have some images that I posted to Instagram. I also posted them to Facebook to see what energies you guys were feeling. So if you are watching from my if you're watching from my video, hello, I'll show you the images if I can find them. But if you're here on the podcast, hello to you as well. Hope you're doing well. And let us see. So, yes, I found them. Okay, so I'm going to look at the votes here on Instagram. So these are the energies that we're feeling. Here's the first one. If you are listening as the podcast, in the podcast form, you can take a look at this video and get a look. But we've got more votes for number one. I'm going to look on Facebook too, but this one I didn't post on Facebook. So number one. I'm going to go off the energies of these images and then I'll go into the reading. This is number two. I keep forgetting to focus. Should turn down a little bit. Number two. Here is number three. This one also is not posted on Facebook, but I knew people would respond on Facebook, so that's why I posted it there. And if you're on Anchor, sorry if you can hear me using my phone as I do this. And I believe that's the last one right there. So I'm gonna, let's see, just taking a look at what everybody voted for. And okay. And now I'm gonna look on Facebook really quick, so don't mind me. Sorry, I should have done this beforehand, but oh well. So on Facebook we have, I would say, more votes for the shadow glass. So that's interesting because we have the opposite on Instagram. But I think we have more votes on Facebook, so we'll go with that. And then for this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for number one. So I think for this one, we've got number one again. And this one with the balloon, or the man with the fish in his mouth. I think we've got it's a pretty even tie. So I'm going to go off of Instagram for that one. I believe that's all I posted. So, okay. So going off of the energies of these images that I posted to Instagram, and again, my podcast people, if you're listening, you can take a peek at the video. Sorry, I was like, where can you guys see this? You can watch the video and see what everyone voted for. For the images, I'll start with this first one. So the first one is it's like a watery sort of scene, and I think I could maybe post it to the screen too. But it's like a watery sort of scene, and there's like this circle kind of eclipse situation happening. I believe there's a eclipse coming up too, actually. I want to say it's this month, but that might be something to be mindful of as that comes into the present moments. You know, obviously we will be getting there and getting into the moment where we will be in our final eclipse of the year. And I think I did a little type up on Patreon. If you're not already, oh my goodness, if you're not already, sorry, I'm getting so tongue-tied, following me on Patreon or if you're not already a patron, definitely check me out there. I post a lot of content there that I do not post anywhere else. Discord does get a little taste. I post some extended astrology readings there that are a little more detailed than the ones I post on Instagram, and some other fun updates and stuff. And there are exclusive little areas for patrons on my Discord, so check those out for more details. But also, as always, another reminder, the extended version of this reading will be up on Patreon. So if you want to watch the extended version, you can catch it over there. But anywho, I forget what I was saying before that. But yeah, check out my astrology little forecast. I talk about the eclipse and some things to look out for. On Discord, I have some keywords. So, you know, if you don't want to do Patreon, you can look at the keywords on Discord. But there might be something that is kind of coming to the surface. Maybe some emotions that are being brought up to the surface as well. Since we have kind of like this kind of foggy, shadowy situation happening here. Possibly some things that might have, that you might have wanted to blow over, you know, not really pay too much attention to. But you're maybe being forced to take a look at those things that, you know, you haven't been paying attention to. But also eclipses have a way of bringing this form of transformation. And I'm more careful about how I use that word now, because everyone says, oh my gosh, big change, big transformation. And that's not always the case. Like, it's not always going to be this monumental moment of just like, whoa, things are crazy. Sometimes that shift and transformation might be as simple as having a conversation with your boss at a job and getting a new opportunity that you might not have seen for yourself previously. So it really just depends. But in this case, eclipses, they would traditionally be known as a very big change, though, especially if it is like a solar eclipse. You could see a maybe death of a solar figure, which could be like a president or someone that is in high standing, a king. When eclipses tended to happen in like the castle astrologer or whatever they were called would do their little astrological forecast. When they saw a eclipse in the forecast, they were very weary of or very adamant about letting the king know, like, hey, a eclipse is coming up, something is about to crack off, so I'm letting you know because you might want to be a little bit more cautious, you know. So eclipses can kind of bring about that sort of energy where there is a big shift or change, something that's kind of dramatic that might happen, whatever the case might be. So it doesn't exactly have to be that dramatic per se, but it is something that I would say, hey, look out for whatever might come up. Pay attention to the different things that you're having to look at. In this case, it is a lunar eclipse. And so in that case, we can see themes that are related to the mother, to a motherly type of figure, a maternal sort of figure. That can also have to do with the body in certain ways as well. A transformation within the emotions possibly as well. So there are many different ways that can kind of play out. But just thinking of lunar themes too in terms of the eclipse. So possibly a transformation in that regard for you. So being aware of that. The second image that I will go off of here, I think more people voted for, I forget which one I want to say it's the guy with the balloon, but I don't know. I'm feeling the guy with the fish for whatever reason. So I feel like maybe some of you are having a difficult time expressing your emotions verbally, maybe even to the point where it's like all of your emotions are spewing out through your communication, or you're becoming so tongue-tied on your own emotions that you can't communicate them, or it's like you've had all of these emotions bottled up within you inside for so long that it's just like, again, all of these emotions are kind of spilling out of your mouth, or it's like you don't want to express all of these emotions, but you're noticing that they want to come out. And so you're kind of choking on them in some case, if you want to talk about it in that regard. But I would say allowing yourself to kind of, if you were to look at this image and think of what this man might be doing next, or this person might be doing next, you know, if they open their mouth, the fish can finally fall out. But the more that you try to stop the situation or this energy from flowing, the more you're going to kind of get stopped up or backed up with all of these fish in your throat, or all of these fish, kind of backed up in your mouth, not allowing themselves to be released, or you not allowing them to be released. So again, allowing yourself to kind of do that releasing, allowing it to be something that comes from within, something that might be emotional for you, but recognizing that it is definitely beneficial to you to allow yourself to open up in that respect. So something to consider. But I am pretty sure, because I know it says that the first picture got more votes, but I'm pretty sure I had more votes on the second one on Facebook. So, and this third one, I had more votes for the second image of the glass on Facebook. So with all of that tied in with the votes here, I would say I'm going with the glass for the second one, or for this next one. But I feel like this is kind of speaking to perspective, and it could be even perspective in regards to you, how you view yourself, which I feel like that can even be a lunar thing, even though the moon isn't necessarily tied to the self like it would be with the sun or the ascendant if we're going off of astrology. But I feel like it still ties in with our emotions, how we might even feel about our body, and the things that our body is going through. But I feel like this is maybe a change in perspective happening within your mind. It kind of gives me the energy of dysmorphia in some regard. So, you know, trigger warning for that, for anyone who might deal with those issues in any area of the spectrum that might come up for you. But those are maybe some emotions that you might be flowing through. Maybe this transformation is within how you see yourself. Maybe you've always struggled with how you've seen yourself and knowing what you actually look like. I know that the way we look is very different from how we look to others. And so maybe there is this kind of self-realization that's happening where maybe you are gaining this new sense of self-respect and confidence, or maybe you are still kind of struggling with that and you're recognizing that it is something that is important for you to figure out and sort out within yourself, within your mind, within your soul. So allowing yourself to go through that journey, but also this could be perspective in regards to different things that you view in your life, and allowing yourself to change that perspective, whatever it might be, and recognizing where there needs to be a shift and where it is just how you are thinking about something and not actually what that something is. Maybe you're only viewing it from one area, one lens, one, again, perspective, but perhaps you're not viewing it from the whole. There's this video that I watched on TikTok yesterday that was talking about the fourth dimension. If you're in my Discord group, you will see that link, I believe, in the share area, which is like where people can share TikTok videos or things they find interesting or chat or whatever. But it was a guy who was kind of explaining how a apple can perceive itself. And because a apple might perceive itself in the second dimension, it perceives itself in small, tiny slices of itself. So, like, I am skin in fruit. I am skin in fruit. I am skin in a lot of fruit. I am skin in mostly fruit. I am very little skin in all fruit. I am skin, fruit, and seeds. So it recognizes itself in little slices, not all at once, but as it continues to observe itself. And it might have this kind of existential crisis at the end because it recognizes, like, oh, there's an end to this thing that is me, whatever I am. So again, another look at perspective. And the last few images, let's see if I can find them. So for this first one, for the people on Instagram that answered for this one. I feel like those of you that, for the majority that chose number 1, I feel like there's this energy of liking or wanting this peace, maybe wanting less movement, wanting that kind of stillness that happens in the morning where things are just starting to wake up and there's a little bit of dew and the sun is just starting to come out and the energy is just slowly progressing, nothing too fluid. And so maybe for some of you, it might be a good idea if you've been in this kind of mindset of, I have to keep going, I have to keep moving, I have to keep doing things. Maybe it might be beneficial to you to allow yourself to slow down and recognize like, hey, it might be a good idea for me to not do so much, for me not to do too much, and just allow myself to slow down, to just ease on the gas and take it easy. And then I feel like it's interesting because the majority of people on Instagram picked this first image too, which I feel like these circles to me say more of like, again, that fluidity, that movement, that kind of bubbling of energy that isn't always the same, different feelings, different emotions, where this other image gives me very structured, kind of like Saturn, this cold, structured, sort of energy where things are, it's like you recognize like, hey, that's just the law. Hey, that's just how life is. Sometimes you have to play the game in order to be able to find out what the cheat codes are, that sort of energy. And again, maybe it's like some of you needing and wanting stability instead of having this energy of movement, of spontaneity, of doing this and doing that and having a little taste of everything. Maybe you're yearning for more structure, more balance, things that make sense to you, and calm you down and kind of bring you sense of stability rather than rapid movement. It's like the difference between a nomadic vagabond, I think that's how you say the word, someone who's just always traveling and journeying, etc., someone who has a very wanderlust sort of spirit, and then someone who just likes to be, they love to travel, love to go on vacation, but also they love to come back home. And that's part of like what makes vacation so nice. It is a break away from what they're doing, but also it feels good to come back home, come back to what you know. So kind of like this balancing act or this comparison between these two lifestyles. And I feel like more of you are choosing like, I like to travel, I like to go out and do things, I like to be spontaneous, but I also like to know where I'm going to sleep each night and come back home and know that I have home to come back to, instead of, my home is wherever I take it. And I believe this is the last one, yeah. Last one, and I think most of you picked number 2, which is really funny to me because you can see this first image is kind of like a winding road. The second one is more of a straight linear sort of road, which again gives me that energy of some of you, again, wanting to have some of that structure, wanting to know what's ahead, wanting to know what's next, wanting to know that you have a place to come back to when you're all finished, when it's all said and done. So that's the energy that I'm getting from those images based off of what you guys picked. And so let's see what the cards say in terms of the advice. So I'm not going to do reversals because I'm just not going to. So we have King of Swords. We have 6 of Cups. And then we have 9 of Swords. So I think this one is interesting because it kind of reminds me of that energy that I was feeling. And sorry for my podcast people if you could hear my phone being set down. I guess this might also be the audio for this video, so sorry, but oh well. I do what I can, okay? But so this image kind of reminds me of what I was talking about in terms of like perspective, in terms of how you see yourself. We kind of see this energy of this knight who's holding a mirror up here. And I think the way that this goes, the basilisk, I think that's how you say it, they don't like to see their reflection. And it's interesting because it reminds me of that kind of reflective energy that I was talking about. And maybe for some of you with that perspective, thought or idea, maybe some of you are kind of in this space where you don't want to see your reflection, whether that's like a bodily thing, or maybe that is with someone that is kind of showing you a part of yourself that you don't want to see, whatever the case might be. And maybe it's a situation where you are wanting to kind of run away from the energy because you just don't want to deal with it. It doesn't feel like something that feels good for you. And so you don't want to be a part of it. But I think the message here is that there are some things that you have to face. It's not always easy to look in this mirror or be shown your reflection, but in some cases that's really necessary. So you kind of have to allow yourself to allow that to happen, and just recognize that, it is what it is. But again, something being exposed, we have the sun here, and it might not be something that you're completely gung-ho about, but it's something that's necessary. And again, that might be how you speak to yourself, how you talk about yourself, the things that you know to be true about yourself. It can be many different things in many different cases. But definitely allowing yourself to continue to do that self-reflection, no matter how difficult that might be for you. And this next card that we have is Six of Cups. And with this card, I feel like there's this energy of feeling kind of back and forth, where at some moments you're feeling really self-satisfied, everything is going well, you're really content with how things are going, and then when the opportunity arises for your emotions to kind of cloud maybe not your judgment, but cloud how you're feeling about things, maybe you kind of switch it up and change your perspective and start to worry and wonder and become less confident in the things that you're manifesting. And I feel like, I forget who I was talking to recently, but I think it was maybe in a reading, but I was saying, like, make sure that when you visualize these things happening for yourself, when you visualize yourself with the success that you know that is here for you, it's really, really important to believe in those visualizations, to believe in the energy that it is presenting itself to you, or that energy that you're calling in, so that you can make sure that you are matching the energy of the thing that you're wanting to manifest. Because when we have doubt and all those other things come in, it's like we're confusing the energy. We just put one ingredient into the pot and we're doing and making something savory, and then all of a sudden we got worried and we decided to throw something sour inside. And, what kind of dish is that going to make? It's probably going to delay the whole process because we have to remake the meal again. So making sure our energy, the ingredients that we put into the pot, making sure it is all balanced, so that we can bring in those manifestations, we can match the energy, and we can make sure that it, comes in as it's supposed to, without all of these worried and fearful emotions involved. So that is the reading that I'm posting here on YouTube and on my podcast. For my friends on Patreon, I will be continuing with the extended. So if that's something that you want to listen to, feel free to find me on Patreon.